Hi, my name is Mrs. Wood. I promised my students I would make a math video after I got my voice. So this video is called Operation Detective, Crack the Code of Word Problems. So we're going to be learning about word problems. But before we do, when you have a problem, you want to have a positive attitude. And I can do it. If you don't know how to do it, say the words, I don't know how to do this yet. The word yet is very powerful. Also, know that mistakes help us grow as long as we learn from our mistakes. It's important to try, fail, and try again. You will never know if you're successful if you never try. And the most important thing is to believe in yourself. You can do hard things. Believe in yourself. So when you get a word problem, you're going to read the problem carefully. And I always ask my students, can I read the word problem more than once? And they would go, no, you can read as many times. I'm like, yes, even Mrs. Wood has to read word problems sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 times to really understand what is happening in the word problem. Now, I tell my students this. I usually read it once, and then the second time I read it and I stop at every period. And every time I stop, I create a picture in my mind, just like you're reading a novel. You create pictures in your mind. So if the problem was Miss Wood has 6 carrots, period. I'm going to stop. I'm going to think. I'm going to visualize myself having 6 carrots. She ate 3 carrots. I'm going to stop. I'm going to picture that in my head. Miss Wood eating 3 carrots. So it slows it down, but it helps you understand what's happening in the word problem. So the next one, you're going to identify the question. What is it asking you? Is it asking you to find the total? Is it asking you to find the difference? I usually have my students underline the question, but also restate it in your head. So put it in your own words. And that helps you to understand what the question is. Number 3, you're going to look at keywords. So for addition, keywords are total, sum, in all, together, more, and more than. Subtraction, the keywords are difference, less, fewer, remain, or left. Multiplication, times, product, each, groups of, or total of, and division, per, out of, shared equally, split, or how many in each. Now, these are good keywords, but sometimes I've seen them throw these keywords. So the best thing is to really understand what's happening. And you also have to understand what it means to add, right? To put things together. And the answer is going to be a bigger number. Subtract, multiply is repeated addition. Division is equal groups. I also look at, does it start with the total? Does it give me the total first in the word problem? Because what operation starts with the total? Oh, Miss Wood ate or had 6 carrots. That's the total. So subtraction. Subtraction, you start with the total. What's another operation? Operation means adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So it's a fancy word for those. So what operation Do you also start with the total? On division, Miss Wood has 20 cards. She has 6 groups, So division, you start with the total. Subtraction, you start with the total. So that's another like clue to see what operation you're going to use. But keywords are important too. The next thing, I'm a very visual person, is you're going to draw a picture or a diagram. So Florida has a state test, but my students have all day to take this test. So I was very proud of them. You want to have really good handwriting, but also draw your pictures, make a chart, make a diagram, jot notes down. That's what I do. So if it says Miss Wood has 6 carrots, I would put Miss Wood, 6 carrots. She ate 3. I would say 8, 3, So I would jot those notes down. Or you could draw the carrots out and put X's. Do it whatever way that works best for you and that can help you understand what's going on in the word problems. Pictures do help. The next thing you need to do after you know what operation you're using is to write an equation. So you're going to take those numbers and you're going to make an equation. After you make your equation, you're going to solve the problem. Okay? And after you solve the problem, you're going to check your work. Now, I always tell my students, division and multiplication, they're brother and sisters. They work together. Same with addition and subtraction. They're brother and sisters. They work together. So what I mean is if you divide, this is the divisor, the big number, the total, I should say the total is the dividend. Okay. So if you are dividing your answer, okay, you can check your work by using multiplication. My kids think this is so cool. So what you do is you take the answer. So 2,130, 2,130. You're going to multiply it by the divisor. So times 3. Okay, I did my multiplication here. But if you have a remainder, you have to add the remainder. So that's why I added the 1 there. Now, once you get the product, remember product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Once you get the product, you can check it to see, does it match the dividend? Okay. So I think that's a cool way to check. And again, addition and subtraction work hand in hand. Another way to check, and it's mandatory for my students, especially during a big test, it's very important, or with just life, if you're doing something very important, you want to check your work. You can solve, like here's the multiplication problem. Algorithm is like the way I learned. It's the way my mom learned, my grandma learned. It's the old-fashioned way. All right, let me see if I can do this. All right, so 3 times 4 is 12. So you put your 2 down. You carry your 1. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 9. 10, sorry. My students would say mistakes help grow. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so since we're done with that, we're going to the next place. So we need a placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. Now these are called partial products. That means they're not the whole product, it's just part. So to get the whole product, we're going to combine them. We're going to add 2 plus 0 is 2. 0 plus 4 is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. Now, what do we call the answer to a multiplication? Who remembers? Product. Good. Because on your state test or big tests, They're not going to say, please multiply. Nope. They're going to say, find the product. So you got to put that in your brain, Velcro it in your brain. Product means answer to a multiplication. Now, pretend this is a question. Well, I want to check my work. Okay. So I can do it the area model way. This is a neat way how to multiply. So we're going to take the same problem, 34 times 13. So how many digits does 34 have? 2, right? 1, 2. So we're going to cut the box into 2's, okay? That 3 is not just a 3. What is it? It's a 30. Okay. And that 4 is just a 4. All right. Now 13. How many digits does 13 have? 2. So I'm going to cut it 1, 2. Okay. That 1 is not just a 1. What is it? Oh, it's a 10. And that 3 is just a 3. All right. So now you're going to do your basic facts. And what I mean by basic facts is you're going to look, okay, there's a 1, there's a 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. Now, how many zeros do I have in 30 and 10? 1, 2. So I'm going to put down 2 zeros. So 30 times 10 is 300. Now here, 10 times 4, I hope you know that. 10 times 4 is 40. But if you don't, use your basic facts. 1 times 4 is 4. With how many zeros? Just 1. Okay, now we're going here. 3, do your basic facts. 3 times 3 is 9. With how many zeros? 1. And then 3 times 4 is 12. Okay. Now, these are called, do you remember? Partial products. They're not the whole product. They're only part. So to get the total, there's that key word, you're going to add. So you're going to add these partial products. So the key is to line them up nicely. And I do have to say that my students do a really good job lining them up, writing really neatly, because in math, you have to write nice and neat, okay? Because you won't make mistakes. I've seen it all the time where they don't line them up nicely and then they make an error. So it would be sad if you did all this work and then you added, not right. So write really neat. And here we go. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2. Like, where did I go? Plus 2 is 2. Okay, now the 10 spot. 9 plus 4. Well, 9 plus 1 is 10. So I'm going to take that 1 from that 4. So be 13, right? So 9 plus 4 is 13. Plus 1, 14. Or an easier way is to make your complements of 10. 9 plus 1 is 10 plus 4, 14. Now the hundreds. 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay, so when you do that, you have your product, okay? And you want to see, do they match? 442, 442, yes. So that has to be the answer. Now, if they do not match, do it again, okay? If you keep getting different answers, find the way that you feel comfortable. A lot of times people like the area model, because sometimes they'll forget that placeholder, but my students have been really good at that. But so whatever way is comfortable, go with that answer. All right. So that's how you check your work. That's how you can solve those word problems Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.